Hi, we're back again, and this is going to be part 2 on Ed August on Palmistry. We're doing in these small increments here of 5 or 6 minutes for purposes of YouTube. And I was just finishing up in the last episode there on the history of palmistry or palm reading, and very little actually was done on palmistry during the Dark Ages and during the Renaissance. It was just something that wasn't, you know, it was mistaken as witchcraft for many years. I mean, for hundreds of years, if anybody in Northern Europe especially, you know, had been going around looking at the lines on people's hands and stuff, they would have thought that they were probably witches or gypsies. And of course gypsies had a tremendous prejudice against them for hundreds and hundreds of years, you know. These kind of things just were not done. But as we go into about the 19th century, then palmistry makes a big resurgence. And one particular gentleman was very instrumental in the popularity that palmistry has had ever since. And his name was Cairo, C-H-E-I-R-O. And Cairo that wasn't his real name. What he was using there was the fact that his name was similar to chiromancy. Chiromancy is the study of the hand, and so he took that as his kind of like alias, you know. I believe that his real name was like Count Louis Haymond or something like that. Now he was a European. He became so good at palmistry that he started to get a tremendous amount of clientele, and his clients included royal princes, you know, and people in the court of, you know, emperors throughout Europe, and also the most important actors, actresses, and even politicians of the day all came, you know, to see him. So he was very popular there, you know, at the turn of the century, and he wrote several books. A number of books, you know, as we go into the 20th century, came out. And then you get more and more people that are doing palm readings. Of course, the gypsies and other type of people have been doing this as a way to make money for hundreds of years. You know, we don't really know the whole story behind gypsy palm readings. You know, that's, I think, incredibly interesting stuff, and I'd love to find out more about that. I don't know if there's a real history about the gypsy palm readings or not, or gypsy tarot readings. Nobody's really sure about what that history was, but it must be very fascinating. Now let me go quickly into the hand. And before I even get into the hand, we have to look at the fingers. And each of these fingers, this is obviously a right hand that we're looking at here, is named after a planet. This, for example, is the Jupiter finger here. It's the forefinger, and the forefinger is also called the trigger finger. It's also called the index finger. It's probably one of our most important fingers, and it's named after the king of the ancient gods, Jupiter or Zeus. And next to it is the Saturn finger. This is the symbol for Jupiter. This is a symbol for Saturn. And Saturn has many important qualities. It has a lot also to do with authority, with restrictions, with various liabilities. It's kind of a negative. It's kind of a negative finger in many ways. And one of the ways is, you know, you have your trigger finger that you use, or a pointer finger, and that's very good. Now I don't want to show you what that middle finger is, but you know what I'm talking about, don't you? When a person lifts their middle finger, you know what that's all about. The next one is called the ring finger. It's also known as the Apollo finger or the sun finger. This is the symbol in astrology of the sun. This finger has a lot to do with authority, with success, with the best things that a person can have in life, and also with good health, all the things that come under the sun. And you notice also that it's people will often put a ring on this finger to indicate a successful union. The most important things that people do in their life sometimes is when they get married or engaged. Well, they put a ring on that finger. Then finally, this is the Mercury finger. That's a symbol for Mercury. And Mercury has a lot to do with communication and with sales. They say that salesmen and everything have a very important, a very well pronounced Mercury finger. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, and that's important there. And then the thumb, there's most palmists will ignore the thumb in terms of its planetary coordinates, but I believe that the thumb should come under Mars, because Mars is the planet of energy, of work, and the thumb is really a very used for work purposes all the time. It's probably the most important finger, on the hand. And if it's a little bit larger or a little bit smaller, all these fingers will mean something. Sometimes the Jupiter finger is a little bit longer than the Saturn finger. All that means something. I don't really have time enough to go into all those meanings right now, and we'll be right back with part 3.